Hey guys, tonight we're floating through the soft mists of an ancient lake, gliding past lush green islands that seem to drift on the water's surface. The world is still asleep, the sky a gentle watercolor wash of pre-dawn light. You can almost taste the damp earth and hear the quiet splash of your paddle as you steer your canoe deeper into this aquatic maze. Here, in the Valley of Mexico, the Chinampas, those floating gardens, hold secrets as old as the Aztecs themselves. And you're about to step into that world, where you probably won't survive the early morning workload of a farmer balancing on slippery planks above the water. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're feeling curious, tell me in the comments. Where are you listening from? And what time is it where you are? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand at the edge of your small Chinampa, feeling the dew soak your sandals and the faint chill of the lake air kissing your face. Around you, the sky is slowly brightening, streaked with gentle pinks and lavenders, and the hush of dawn is so complete that you can hear your own breath. You stoop to test the rich, spongy earth underfoot. It's black with silt, crumbly with ancient nutrients that never seem to run out. They say these gardens have fed generations of Tenochtitlan's people, and this morning, you're part of that silent, muddy lineage. There's a faint scent of damp willow in the air. Above your head, a small bird flits from branch to branch, scolding you for disturbing its early breakfast. You chuckle, half in apology, half in amusement. The lake is alive, but it's a gentle life, one that hums and murmurs rather than roars. You take a moment to breathe it in, the slow ripples of water against the reed-woven borders of your Chinampa, the gentle sigh of distant canoe paddles, the scent of wet earth and the crispness of early morning air. Historians still argue whether these Chinampas are truly floating, or if they're more like anchored rafts of earth and willow. But from where you stand, the difference hardly matters. What matters is the gentle, rhythmic life that pulses under your feet, the patient, almost smug quiet of these garden plots that have outlived kings and conquerors. You reach down and pinch a bit of mud between your fingers. It's cool, silky, almost alive. This mud is your lifeline, the secret of the Chinampas. Here, the Aztecs figured out how to farm in the middle of a lake, layering silt and vegetation until the islands rose like stubborn green prayers above the water. It's said they built them by weaving together mats of reeds and anchoring them to the lakebed with willow poles, creating floating beds of earth that seem to drift like sleepy clouds across the lake. A soft breeze stirs, carrying the scent of damp earth and sweet flowers. You close your eyes and let it wash over you, just for a moment. Somewhere behind you, a friend calls your name, teasing you for dawdling. You grin and wave him off. There's no rush here. The sun is only just peeking above the mountains, and you have all day to plant, to weed, to watch the water sparkle in the light. You take your first careful steps across the Chinampa's narrow wooden planks, feeling the gentle sway beneath you. It's almost like walking on a boat, but steadier somehow. Your feet find the rhythm. Step, breathe, balance. Each footstep presses down on centuries of careful tending. Each breath draws in the scent of earth and water and life. And as you move, you start to hear the soft hum of the lake waking up around you. The low murmur of neighbors in distant canoes, the splash of a heron landing in the shallows, the sleepy whine of a mosquito near your ear. It's a gentle chorus, a dawn song that's been playing since long before you arrived. You pause at the edge of your plot and gaze out across the water. In the distance, the city of Tenochtitlan rises from the lake like a dream, its white walls catching the first blush of sun. It's almost too perfect, like a mirage floating on the water. But you know it's real and you know it's hungry. The city depends on these gardens, on you and your neighbors, to keep its markets and temples fed. You dip your paddle in the water again, setting off down the narrow canal that leads to your friend's Chinampa. The water is clear, and you can see fish darting in the shadows below, their silver scales flashing like tiny stars. The canoe glides silently, the paddles swirl, sending up faint ripples that glimmer in the growing light. A light joke bubbles up in your mind. You wonder if the fish ever get tired of you drifting overhead, or if they gossip about the clumsy farmer who always manages to slip off the planks at least once every harvest. You chuckle to yourself, the thought as comforting as the warmth of the rising sun on your back. The Chinampas stretch out in every direction, green, patient, and just a little smug in their ancient wisdom. You trail your fingers through the water as you drift along, feeling the cool kiss of the lake and thinking, not for the first time, that maybe the lake itself is a kind of quiet teacher, always whispering its secrets to those who listen. And so, you listen, you watch, you breathe, and in that stillness, the day begins to unfurl like a flower on the water's surface. Quiet, inevitable, and beautiful. You glide to a stop beside the Chinampa where you'll work today, easing your canoe onto a patch of earth just wide enough to stand on. The air smells of lake mud and sweet blossoms. You hop off, your feet squelching in the spongy ground, and you greet the dawn with a quiet sigh of contentment. This is your domain for the day, your patch of the floating world, and there's something deeply satisfying about the way it all seems to welcome you like an old friend. You start by checking the wooden poles that hold the edges of your Chinampa in place. They're made from ahujote willow, tough and springy, perfect for anchoring these floating plots. You run your hand along the damp wood, feeling the slight give as it flexes with the motion of the lake. Historians still argue whether these willows were chosen just for their sturdiness, or if there was some secret ritual involved in planting them. Either way, you trust them. You trust the gentle sway of the earth under your feet. The sun is fully awake now, painting the lake in shimmering bands of gold. You roll up your sleeves and start to work, your fingers sinking into the dark soil that's as rich as any treasure. The first task is simple but essential, checking the irrigation channels that crisscross your garden. Water is everything here. It feeds the plants, cools the roots, and keeps the Chinampas alive even when the air is dry. You crouch low and watch the water flow, making sure there are no blockages, no sneaky roots trying to drink more than their fair share. The gentle gurgle of water is like a lullaby, so soft and soothing that you almost lose yourself in it. You let your mind wander for a moment, imagining what the lake might have looked like centuries ago, untamed and wild, before clever farmers coaxed it into this living tapestry. You stand again, stretching your arms overhead, and look around at your green kingdom. Rows of maize stand tall, their leaves rustling in the faint breeze. Squash vines sprawl low, fat golden flowers just beginning to open for the day. Chili peppers glow red and fierce against the dark soil, tiny suns ready to warm your tongue later on. It's an odd but beautiful mix, the chaos of nature and the order of human hands working in quiet harmony. You reach for your digging stick, a simple tool with a worn wooden handle, and begin to loosen the earth around the maize stalks. Each motion is slow and deliberate, the kind of work that doesn't rush. There's a rhythm to it. Dig, turn, pat down the soil, move on. You find a certain comfort in that rhythm. It's as old as the Chinampas themselves, a song you sing with your body and breath. As you work, a friend paddles by in his canoe, calling out a teasing greeting. You wave and call back, joking that he'd better be careful not to fall in, like he did last week, when the fish practically laughed him back to shore. He laughs, shaking his head, and drifts away to tend his own garden. These quiet exchanges, these soft jokes, this is the heartbeat of Chinampa life, steady and unhurried. The sun climbs higher, and you pause to wipe the sweat from your brow. Your hands are dark with earth, nails packed with rich soil, and you smile at the thought. Some might find it messy, but you know better. Dirt is life here. It's food and shelter, history and promise, all wrapped in the black silk of lake mud. You notice a dragonfly hover near your ear, its wings catching the light like shards of rainbow glass. It's a small, almost magical moment. In this place, even the insects seem to have stories to tell if you only listen closely enough. Maybe the dragonfly is here to remind you to keep moving, or maybe it's just as curious about you as you are about it. Your stomach gives a gentle nudge, reminding you that it's almost time for the midday meal. You glance around and see your neighbor already pulling up a basket of amaranth greens. Tiny leaves that pack more life into a bite than you'd expect. They're one of those curious crops the Aztecs loved, and for good reason. They're packed with nutrients, easy to grow, and somehow manage to taste like green sunlight. You stoop to gather a handful of these leaves yourself, brushing off the tiny insects that cling to them. You can almost taste the faint peppery bite they'll have when you chew them later, mixed with the sweet earthiness of the lake's gifts. As you work, a thought flickers at the edge of your mind. Historians still debate whether the Chinampas were purely agricultural, or if they also held a ceremonial role, perhaps linked to the cycles of life and death that echo through every planting season. You don't know the answer, but as you stand in this living garden, you feel that it doesn't really matter. The Chinampas are both practical and sacred, humble and magnificent. You pause again, breathing deep, and watch the breeze ruffle the tops of the maize stalks. The lake glitters beyond them, sunlight dancing in tiny ripples that seem to sing a song of water and earth. In that moment, you realize how lucky you are to be here, how perfectly this small patch of floating land fits into the world's grand design. A light joke drifts through your mind. Maybe the lake gods are just lazy farmers themselves, taking long naps while you do the real work. You chuckle, shaking your head, and return to your digging, the soft pull of the earth a lullaby that soothes your soul. The day stretches ahead, full of promise and the slow magic of growth. You're ready. The lake is ready. And as the sun climbs higher still, you keep moving, planting and tending, breathing in the gentle, endless rhythm of the Chinampas. You pause to rest for a moment, leaning on your digging stick as you watch the morning market canoes glide by in the distance. They're piled high with squash blossoms and maize, chilies and beans, all destined for the great city of Tenochtitlan that gleams on the horizon. The sight of it makes you smile, knowing that your humble Chinampa is part of something so grand, so impossibly vast and hungry. You take a sip of water from a clay jug, feeling the coolness slide down your throat. The air is already warming, but the breeze that whispers across the lake still carries a hint of early morning coolness. You savor that gentle caress, letting it ease the stiffness in your shoulders. Around you, the garden hums with life, each plant reaching for the sun in quiet triumph. You stoop to check your squash vines, marveling at how they curl and stretch, greedy for light and space. You run your fingers over a fat green fruit, still slick with dew, and you can't help but chuckle. These vegetables have an almost smug confidence, as if they know they're destined to end up in the great marketplaces of the city. Historians still argue whether these floating farms were originally designed to feed just the local villages or if they were always meant to sustain the sprawling capital. Either way, you know the truth of it every time you load up your canoe with baskets of food. These gardens feed the hungry heart of Tenochtitlan, and the city never seems to get its fill. You shoulder your basket and step carefully along the narrow planks that lead to your canoe. The water laps at the wood, a gentle shush that's oddly soothing. As you load your vegetables, you imagine the bustling market, stalls overflowing with color and life, the air thick with the scent of roasted maize and fresh flowers. It's a place of laughter and bargaining, of quiet gossip and quick deals, and you can't wait to be part of it. You push off from the Chinampa, the canoe rocking gently beneath you. The paddle dips into the water with a soft plunk, sending ripples fanning out behind you. You set a slow, steady pace, your arms moving in easy rhythm. The journey is as much a part of your day as the planting and tending. Time to think, to dream, to watch the world slip by like a slow song. As you paddle, you spot a heron standing motionless in the shallows, its white feathers almost glowing against the dark water. It watches you with a calm, unblinking gaze, and you nod in silent greeting. You've always admired these birds, their patient stillness a lesson in quiet observation. You wonder, not for the first time, what secrets they see in the rippling water. Your canoe glides past other farmers, each of them bent to their own tasks. You share a wave or a lazy greeting, but no one is in a hurry. The sun is high now, its light turning the lake into a sheet of hammered gold. You squint against the glare and keep paddling, your basket of fresh vegetables a promise of good trade and full bellies. You remember an old joke, something about how if the Aztecs had invented pizza, you'd be the guy hauling tomatoes and chilies for the city's most popular pie. You chuckle to yourself, the thought of a floating pizzeria somehow perfectly fitting in this dreamy water world. The canoe drifts into a busier channel, where the traffic of traders and farmers becomes a gentle, watery parade. You watch as a woman in a bright red hupel rows past, her canoe stacked with clay pots. She calls out a cheerful greeting, and you return it, sharing a moment of camaraderie across the gentle current. You can't help but marvel at the variety of goods these Chinampas produce. Beans, amaranth, tomatoes, chilies, even tiny plots of delicate herbs that perfume the air as you pass. It's a floating grocery store, centuries ahead of its time, and it all flows so easily, so naturally, from the patient work of your hands. You pull your canoe up beside a small market dock, the wooden planks sun-bleached and warm beneath your feet. The market is already humming with life, vendors calling out their wares in sing-song voices that echo across the water. You unload your basket and join them, your heart light with the promise of a good day's trade. You find a shady spot to rest, leaning back against a stack of woven mats and letting your gaze drift across the water. The city's towers gleam in the distance, white and proud. But here, in the quiet chatter of the market, you feel the true pulse of this world. It's not the grandeur of the temples or the fierce power of the warriors. It's the slow, patient work of farmers and traders, the quiet rhythm of life on the lake. You trade a few baskets of squash for fresh fish, slipping the silver-scaled creatures into a woven pouch at your side. The fish are cool and damp against your skin, their scales glinting like coins. You grin at the thought. Maybe the lake itself is paying you back for your morning's work, a gentle sort of reward. Historians still debate whether these daily markets were truly open to everyone or if there were secret rules and hidden hierarchies that governed each trade. You don't know the answer, but here, in the shade of the willows, it all feels simple and honest. A quiet promise. You bring your best, and the lake provides in return. The day drifts on, and you linger in the market's easy company. You chat with neighbors, share a few light jokes, like how the fish always seem to jump into your net when you're least prepared, or how the chilies never fail to bite back. Laughter ripples like the lake, soft and warm and soothing. When you finally push off from the dock, your canoe low in the water with your traded goods, you feel a quiet satisfaction settle in your chest. The lake has provided, the city will feast, and you'll sleep tonight with the soft sounds of water still echoing in your dreams. You push your canoe back onto the narrow canal, the water swirling around the prow in lazy eddies. The sun rides high now, but the gentle motion of the water keeps you cool, and the scent of fresh herbs and wet earth drifts around you like an old, comforting blanket. You hum softly as you steer your way home, the tune lost in the gentle slap of water against the hull. As you drift along, you remember how the elders always say the real magic of these gardens isn't in the plants. It's in the mud. The black, rich soil of the Chinampas is a gift from the lake itself, dredged up from the bottom in heavy baskets and spread in patient layers. Every season, you add more, scooping up the silky silt and laying it down like a promise. Historians still argue whether this practice was purely practical or if it was a kind of quiet ritual, a way of binding the lake's power to the gardens above. Either way, you feel the magic in your fingertips as you lean over and let your hand dip into the water, feeling the fine grit of silt slip between your fingers. It's soft and smooth, alive with promise. You scoop up a handful and let it fall in slow rivulets, watching the tiny grains catch the light like stars in the sun. You arrive back at your Chinampa, the basket of fresh fish tied securely in the canoe. You haul it up onto the soft earth and grin at the thought of tonight's meal. The squash and chilies you traded for fish, the amaranth greens you picked yourself. Tonight's feast will be humble, but it will be rich with the flavors of this place. But first, there's still work to be done. You set aside your baskets and begin to weed the maize rows, pulling up the stubborn green shoots that try to steal water and sun from your crops. The work is slow and gentle, and you let your mind wander as your hands move in their patient dance. You think of the old songs you learned as a child, songs that tell of the earth's bounty and the lake's quiet moods. You hum one now, the notes low and soft, a lullaby for the plants and for yourself. You can almost hear the echoes of other voices, other mornings. This is a song that has never truly ended. A neighbor's canoe drifts by, and he raises a hand in greeting, his face half hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. You call out a quick joke about his hat being bigger than his head, And he laughs, the sound rolling across the water like a lazy wave. There's no hurry here, no sharp edges to the day, just the soft, easy motion of life on the lake. As you work, you notice a tiny frog nestled in the damp shade of a maize stalk. Its skin is mottled green and brown, perfectly camouflaged, and you pause to watch it for a moment. It blinks slowly, then hops away with a soft splash that makes you chuckle. Maybe it's a little guardian of the Chinampa, or maybe it's just another quiet resident of this floating world. You stretch and stand, feeling the sun warm your shoulders. You look out across the lake, the water shimmering in the light like molten silver. In the distance, a flock of white egrets rises in slow motion, their wings beating the air in perfect, lazy arcs. You watch them go, feeling a pang of envy at their easy grace. You turn back to your work, pulling weeds and smoothing the earth around your plants. The squash vines twine around your ankles like curious children, their broad leaves whispering against your skin. You smile at them, murmuring a quiet promise to keep them safe and fed. You remember another odd tidbit. Crocodile dung was once used as a kind of sunscreen, slathered on skin to protect from the fierce sun. It's a thought that makes you laugh out loud. The idea of smearing such a smelly concoction on your face while you work. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. Historians still puzzle over these curious practices. You're just glad you have your hat and a bit of shade. The afternoon light shifts, turning everything to soft gold. You pause to watch the shadows lengthen, the gentle hush of the water wrapping around you like a lullaby. The city of Tenochtitlan is still out there, bustling and loud. But here, in the heart of the Chinampas, the world feels small and safe. A dragonfly buzzes past your ear, its wings a flicker of blue-green light. You follow it with your eyes, letting its lazy flight lull you into a gentle daze. The day is winding down, but there's still time for one more row of weeding, one more quiet moment with your hands in the earth. You move slowly, the rhythm of your breath matching the gentle pull of the weeds. Each motion is deliberate, each breath a small prayer of thanks. You feel the muscles in your back sing with the effort, but it's a good kind of tired, the kind that promises deep sleep and soft dreams. The sun slides lower, painting the sky in streaks of orange and pink. You lean on your digging stick and watch it for a while, the quiet glory of the sunset a kind of reward for the day's labor. You know there will be more work tomorrow, more weeding and planting and trading, but for now, you let yourself simply be. A quiet soul in a quiet garden, floating on the edge of the world. You take a deep breath, the scent of earth and water filling your lungs. You close your eyes for a moment and let the warmth of the sun sink into your skin. And when you open them again, you're ready to keep going, to keep tending this small patch of floating earth, one gentle step at a time. You pause to dip your hands into the cool water, watching as the ripples dance out from your fingers. The lake reflects the soft gold of the sun, and for a moment, it's easy to imagine that the water holds all the secrets of this world. You shake the droplets from your hands and turn back to the narrow path between the Chinampas, ready to move on. You balance carefully on the slender plank that connects your garden to the next, your footsteps slow and deliberate. The plank wobbles under your weight, and you spread your arms for balance, grinning at the memory of last season when you fell in twice. Your friend still teases you about it, claiming the fish now know you by name. As you reach the next garden, you pause to watch the gentle traffic of the waterways. Canoes drift past like floating baskets of color, green herbs, red chilies, yellow maize. The quiet chatter of neighbors carries across the water, soft and musical. You wave to an old woman rowing with slow, patient strokes, her canoe piled high with fragrant marigolds for the temples. She nods in return, her face wrinkled with a smile that's seen many sunrises. Historians still argue whether these waterways were strictly utilitarian or if they served a more ceremonial purpose. Some say they were part of an elaborate social web, weaving together trade, gossip, and daily life. As you watch the gentle flow of canoes, you're inclined to agree. These channels are more than just water. They're the threads that hold this world together. You step into your canoe again, pushing off with the paddle and letting the current carry you for a while. The water murmurs around you, a soft, endless conversation. You trail your fingers in it, feeling the gentle pull of the current as you drift along. Your stomach reminds you it's time for a break, and you grin at the thought of lunch. Amaranth greens, a handful of beans, maybe a bit of fish if you're lucky. The idea of a warm meal, of sitting under the shade of a willow and letting the breeze play with your hair, is enough to quicken your paddle strokes. You pull up to a small clearing, where a friend waits with a grin and a steaming bowl. The scent of roasted maize and chilies hits you like a warm hug, and you settle in beside him, sharing a quick joke about how your paddle strokes are lazier than a sunbathing iguana. He laughs, offering you a taste of his fish stew. You take a bite, the smoky richness filling your mouth, and you close your eyes for a moment to savor it. The flavors are simple but perfect, the taste of earth and water, and the quiet, patient work of the Chinampas. You let the warmth of the food settle in your belly, feeling the sun on your face and the cool shade on your back. There's no rush here, just the soft, steady rhythm of life. You share a few more jokes, the easy laughter a balm for the tiredness in your bones. Your friend tells you about the latest bit of gossip. A neighbor's canoe capsized this morning, spilling a basket of chilies into the lake. The fish are feasting, and the poor farmer's red-faced fury is the talk of the canals. You both laugh, shaking your heads in sympathy. These small misadventures are as much a part of life here as the planting and the harvest. As you finish your meal, you lean back and watch the way the sunlight filters through the willow branches, painting dappled patterns on the water. The world feels soft and slow, the gentle murmur of the lake a lullaby that hums in your bones. You remember a curious tidbit you once heard. The Aztecs believed the lake had its own spirit, a quiet, watchful presence that guarded its secrets and blessed those who treated it kindly. You can almost feel that spirit in the way the water shivers under your fingers, in the hush of the reeds and the patient sweep of the heron's wings. You sigh, stretching your arms overhead and feeling the pull of muscles pleasantly worked. The day isn't done, but there's no rush. You have time. Time to paddle, to plant, to watch the world slide by in gentle ripples. Time to listen to the quiet laughter of the lake. Your friend pushes off again, waving as he disappears down the canal. You watch him go, the small wake of his canoe shimmering in the sun, and then you turn back to your own patch of earth. You rise slowly, brushing the crumbs from your lap and feeling the soft sway of the ground under your feet. You start back to work, the paddle dipping into the water with each easy stroke. The canals are busier now, traders and farmers sharing lazy greetings and gentle barbs. You join in, your voice soft and amused as you tease a friend about his lopsided load of squashes. He grins, shaking his head, and the two of you share a laugh that echoes across the water. Historians still debate whether the Aztec markets and waterways were strictly policed or if there was a kind of organized chaos to them, a system that worked because everyone knew their part. From where you sit, watching the bright canoes drift by in slow, steady lines, you think it's a little of both. You turn your canoe back toward your Chinampa, the quiet pull of the paddle a meditation in motion. The sun is still high, but the shadows are growing longer, and you feel the soft, easy fatigue of a day well spent. You pause to watch a flock of ducks skimming the water, their bodies flashing white and brown in the sun. They glide past with effortless grace, and you smile, feeling your own breath match their quiet rhythm. You reach your garden again and tie up your canoe, stepping carefully onto the soft earth. The work isn't done yet, but for now, you let yourself pause, breathing deep and feeling the calm hum of the water all around you. You wipe your hands on your tunic as you stand once more on the edge of your Chinampa, the gentle lap of water beneath your feet a constant song. Around you, the world shimmers in the afternoon light. Rows of green maize swaying in the breeze, the distant calls of birds blending with the quiet hush of water lapping against reed-woven edges. You move carefully between the rows, your feet finding the narrow spaces worn smooth by centuries of patient footsteps. Today, you're tending more than just the maize. You pause to kneel beside a bed of amaranth, its bright green leaves whispering against your fingers as you brush them aside to check the rich, dark earth. The air is filled with the faint, peppery scent of the plants, and you breathe it in with a soft smile. Amaranth is one of the lake's quiet gifts, humble, easy to grow, yet powerful in its ability to nourish. Historians still argue whether it was considered a sacred food or merely a practical crop. But you know the truth is both. Each bright leaf holds a promise of life, a quiet testament to the balance of this floating world. You straighten up and move on, your eyes catching on the bright red flashes of chili peppers further down the row. They gleam like tiny suns against the green backdrop, a quiet riot of color that always makes you grin. You remember an old joke your friend once shared, something about how even the lake spirits must respect the bite of the chilies. You chuckle softly to yourself as you lean in to check the plants, the faint warmth of the pepper's skins almost thrumming under your fingertips. The sun is warm on your back, the gentle hum of insects filling the air. You pause to watch a line of ants making their steady way across a wooden plank, each one carrying a crumb or a scrap of leaf back to their hidden kingdom. You wonder if the ants think of you as a giant farmer, tending a world that to them must seem as vast and mysterious as the lake does to you. You move on to the squash vines, their broad leaves curling like lazy green fans in the sun. The vines sprawl in every direction, tangled and carefree, but you know each twist and turn, each pale blossom that will soon become a fat, green fruit. You murmur to the plants as you work, a quiet litany of encouragement and gentle scolding. After all, even the most determined vines need a little guidance now and then. As you lean down to adjust the vines, you notice a small patch of watercress peeking out from the edges of the Chinampa. Its bright green leaves are cool to the touch, a gentle promise of fresh flavor for tonight's meal. You pause to pluck a few tender stems, tucking them into the small pouch at your side. It's a quiet pleasure, this act of gathering, of bringing the garden's bounty home one careful handful at a time. The world seems to slow around you, the soft warmth of the sun and the gentle motion of the water wrapping you in a kind of sleepy comfort. You pause to stretch, your muscles singing with the simple satisfaction of honest work. The lake murmurs at your feet, a slow, patient lullaby that seems to seep into your bones. Historians still argue whether these Chinampas were truly floating farms or simply carefully anchored patches of earth. But as you stand here, your feet sinking into the soft, damp soil, you feel the truth in the gentle sway of the ground beneath you. Floating or not, these gardens are alive in a way that's hard to put into words. You take a moment to watch the shadows shift across the water, the rippling patterns like brushstrokes on a painter's canvas. A dragonfly darts past your ear, its wings a flicker of emerald and sapphire in the light. You laugh softly, remembering how your friend once claimed the dragonflies were the lake's messengers, flitting from Chinampa to Chinampa with quiet gossip and gentle news. You lean on your digging stick for a moment, breathing deep and letting the sense of earth and water fill your lungs. There's something comforting about the way the world smells here, like wet stone and green things growing, like the promise of rain and the patient hum of life. You shift your focus to the small bed of herbs near the water's edge. Fragrant epizode and delicate cilantro, their bright leaves nodding in the faint breeze. You brush your fingers over them, the scent sharp and clean, and you smile at the thought of the meal they'll flavor tonight. As you work, you think of the great city of Tenochtitlan in the distance, its white walls gleaming in the sun. It's a place of noise and bustle, of fierce warriors and bright markets. But here it all seems to fade into the quiet murmur of the lake. You're part of that world, of course, but here you're just a farmer, a caretaker of this small, floating patch of green. A light joke flickers through your mind, something about how the city's fancy feasts would be nothing without the quiet work of your calloused hands. You chuckle, the thought as warm and grounding as the sun on your skin. You stoop once more to pull a stubborn weed, your fingers sure and steady in the rich earth. The day is long, the work unending, but you find a quiet peace in the slow rhythm of it all. Each breath, each motion, is a kind of prayer, a quiet promise to keep the lake's gifts alive. You pause to wipe the sweat from your brow, the lake's gentle song a constant comfort. The sun is starting to slip lower, the shadows growing long and cool, but there's still light enough to work, still time enough to tend the quiet magic of the Chinampas. And so you keep going, your hands in the earth, your breath in time with the gentle pull of the water. The lake's secrets are safe with you, and you'll keep them well. One quiet moment, one gentle harvest at a time. The shadows have grown long and soft now, the lake's surface turning from bright silver to a dusky shimmer of rose and gold. You pause to watch the sun slip behind the low hills, its fading light painting the water in colors so gentle they seem to hum rather than glow. You let out a long sigh, the kind that feels like it's been waiting all day to be released. You turn back to your work with a soft smile. Tonight, you're preparing a meal, one that starts in the rich, black soil under your feet. You stoop to gather a handful of amaranth greens, their bright leaves cool and damp in your hand. You bundle them carefully, each motion deliberate and sure. This is the quiet feast of the Chinampas, humble and perfect in its simplicity. Your canoe is tied up at the edge of your garden, bobbing gently in the evening breeze. You load your small harvest with practiced ease, balancing the basket so it won't tip in the soft sway of the water. You pause to glance across the lake, the distant city of Tenochtitlan, a pale ghost against the darkening sky. It's there, waiting with its endless appetite, but tonight you're feeding yourself first. You paddle slowly, the water a mirror that shivers at each stroke. The lake is calm now, almost sleepy, and you move with it, your breath slow and easy. The scent of damp earth and growing things fills the air, mixed with the faint tang of wood smoke drifting from a neighbor's cooking fire. You smile, imagining what flavors might be swirling in those pots. Maybe squash blossoms stuffed with beans, or a rich stew of chilies and fresh fish. You guide your canoe to a quiet cove, the water lapping softly at the reeds. Here, the air is still, and you can hear every tiny sound. The faint rustle of a bird settling for the night, the lazy drip of water from your paddle. You tie off the canoe and step onto the soft bank, the earth cool beneath your feet. You start your small cooking fire, feeding it with dry twigs and bits of driftwood. The crackle of the flames is a welcome sound, a warm glow against the gathering dusk. You remember an odd tidbit. Some say the Aztecs believed the smoke from a cooking fire carried prayers to the gods, thin wisps of hope and gratitude rising into the night. You watch your own smoke curl into the sky, and you smile at the thought. You rinse the amaranth greens in the clear water, watching the silt swirl away in pale clouds. You pluck a few tender chilies from your basket, bright red and warm in your hand. The fire pops softly as you roast them, the skins blistering and filling the air with a sharp, sweet scent that makes your mouth water. You hum to yourself as you cook, an old song that drifts up from your memory. The words are half forgotten, but the melody is soft and soothing, a lullaby for the night and for your own quiet heart. You turn the chilies over the fire, the heat of the flames a gentle kiss against your knuckles. You add the greens to the pot, the water hissing as they hit the heat. Steam rises, carrying the green, earthy scent of the lake's bounty. You stir slowly, your movements unhurried, savoring the slow transformation from raw leaves to tender, fragrant food. A neighbor drifts by in his canoe, calling out a gentle greeting. You lift your spoon in a lazy wave, inviting him to join you if he likes. He laughs, shaking his head. He has his own meal waiting, he says, and besides, he's still drying out from his earlier mishap in the water. You grin, promising to save him a bite for next time. Historians still debate whether these small, shared meals were common among the Aztec farmers, or if they were rare, precious moments of community in an otherwise busy world. As you ladle the simple stew into a clay bowl, you think that history doesn't need to decide for you. This meal is yours, a quiet offering to the lake, to the night, and to yourself. You take your first bite slowly, letting the flavors bloom on your tongue. The chilies bite, warm and gentle, the amaranth soft and green and just a little sweet. You close your eyes and breathe deep, the scent of smoke and earth and green things filling your senses. It's a humble meal, but it's enough. You watch the lake as you eat, the water turning dark and silky in the fading light. You can just make out the faint glimmer of distant fires, tiny stars of warmth flickering in the cool night. You wonder what stories are being shared around those fires, what quiet jokes and gentle gossip ripple through the night air. You remember a friend's tale about how once, during a feast, a chili pepper was mistaken for a sweet fruit, and the poor soul who bit into it nearly fell into the lake from surprise. You chuckle at the memory, the warm stew filling your belly and the soft laughter filling the air around you. The world feels small and safe in the glow of your fire. You let the warmth seep into your bones, the gentle hiss of the lake a constant, soothing hum. The city is far away, the worries of the day fading with the sun. Here, in the soft dark of the Chinampas, there is only the quiet comfort of good food and the gentle lap of water at your feet. You finish your meal slowly, savoring every bite, and then you lean back against the soft earth, the fire's warmth a gentle cradle. You watch the stars begin to bloom in the sky, each one a quiet promise that tomorrow will come, and the lake will still be here, waiting. The sky above you now is a velvet pool of deep blues and silvers, the first stars shimmering like quiet promises. You stretch your arms over your head, feeling the gentle pull of muscles that have worked since dawn, and you let out a soft breath that carries away the last of the day's hurry. The night is here, and with it comes a hush that settles over the Chinampas like a blanket. You move to bank the small fire, careful not to let the coals burn too hot or too low. The faint glow of embers glimmers on your face, and you feel a quiet gratitude for the warmth. A light breeze stirs the surface of the lake, carrying with it the sense of damp earth and a trace of wood smoke from your neighbor's cooking fire. It's a gentle perfume, one that speaks of home and comfort and the quiet strength of the water. You pause to give a small offering to the lake, a pinch of amaranth, a splash of water, murmuring a soft thanks to the spirits of earth and rain. Historians still argue whether these small rituals were universal among the Chinampa farmers, or if they were just the quiet habits of those who felt the lake's presence in every breath. You don't know the answer, but in the stillness of this night, it feels right. The lake laps at the edges of your garden, the sound a soft, endless murmur that matches the slow beat of your heart. You step to the water's edge, the cool damp earth soft under your feet. You kneel and watch the ripples glide away from your fingers, each tiny wave catching the faint starlight like a silver secret. In the darkness, the lake seems to breathe. The air is cooler now, but you don't mind. The soft chill against your skin is a gentle reminder that the world is always turning, always shifting, even in the stillness. You wrap your arms around your knees and watch the water for a while, the quiet giving your thoughts room to wander. You think of the gods the Aztecs honored here, Tlaloc, the rain god with his goggle eyes and jaguar grin, and Calcayatlacu, she of the jade skirt, who carried the lakes and rivers in her flowing hair. They say she is always here, in every ripple and every hush of the reeds. You smile at the thought. Perhaps she's here now, watching you with quiet amusement as you talk to the night. You remember a curious tidbit. Crocodile dung was sometimes used as a sunscreen of sorts, slathered on skin to keep the fierce sun at bay. You can't help but laugh softly, the image of yourself covered in such an odd concoction both hilarious and oddly fitting for the gentle absurdities of life here. Maybe the lake gods have a sense of humor, too. A faint splash draws your attention. A fish leaping in the moonlight, the arc of its body as fluid and perfect as a prayer. You watch it disappear into the shadows, the ripple fading as quickly as it came. You wonder how many secrets this lake holds, how many stories lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be told. You stand again, feeling the slow pull of fatigue in your bones. You stretch, your hands brushing the low branches of a willow that leans over the water. Its leaves shiver in the breeze, and you whisper a quiet promise to the tree, to tend the earth well, to honor the water that cradles these floating gardens. As you turn to walk back to your small fire, you notice the faint glow of bioluminescent algae in the shallows. Tiny green flickers that spark and fade like the breath of stars in the water. It's a quiet magic, a reminder that even in the dark, there is always a gentle light waiting to be seen. You settle back by your fire, the embers still glowing soft and red. You close your eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth seep into your skin and the hush of the lake settle into your bones. The city of Tenochtitlan may be grand and full of noise, but here there is only the patient rhythm of the water and the gentle murmur of life growing in the dark. You think of your neighbor's joke earlier, how the lake spirits must chuckle at your muddy feet and sunburnt nose. You smile at the thought, the quiet humor a balm for the long day. You know that tomorrow will bring more planting, more trading, more quiet laughter. And for tonight, that's enough. You stand and bank the last of the fire, your breath a soft cloud in the cool air. You gather your basket and step carefully onto the wooden planks that lead back to your home, the lake's soft song echoing around you. The path is familiar, each worn board a small memory of those who have walked it before. As you make your way back, you let the night settle into your skin, the hush of the water a lullaby that follows you every step of the way. The lake is alive, and in its gentle embrace, you find your own quiet strength. One step, one breath, one soft promise at a time. You arrive at your home on the edge of the Chinampa, a simple hut with walls of woven reeds and a thatched roof that whispers in the wind. You push open the light door and step inside, the cool shadows wrapping around you like a soft blanket. The air smells faintly of damp earth and warm wood, and you pause for a moment to let the comfort of it all sink into your bones. You set your basket down on a low table, the amaranth leaves still damp and bright. In the faint light of a small clay lamp, you watch the shadows dance along the walls, flickering shapes that seem to tell their own stories. The lamp's glow is soft, a tiny sun in the quiet dark, and you feel a sudden pang of gratitude for its patient warmth. You settle onto a reed mat, stretching your legs out and feeling the day's labor still humming in your muscles. You take a slow breath, the scent of earth and water filling your lungs, and you let out a soft sigh that seems to carry away the last of the day's weight. Outside, the lake murmurs softly against the Chinampa's edges, a gentle reminder that you're never truly alone. You think of the quiet company of the night, the neighbors who have drifted off to their own fires and beds, the fish that slip silent through the water's dark embrace, the herons who stand patient and still, waiting for dawn. The world is never empty here. It's always alive with small voices and soft echoes. You remember a bit of gossip from earlier, your neighbor's tale of eerie night visitors that slip across the water like shadows. Historians still debate whether these stories are based in truth or just the dreams of tired farmers. But you've heard enough whispers to know they're part of the lake's quiet lore. Maybe the spirits of the water walk here after dark, their feet leaving no ripples, their voices softer than the sigh of the reeds. You pull a blanket around your shoulders, the weave rough but comforting. You close your eyes for a moment, letting your thoughts drift like a canoe on still water. You think of the gods who watch over this place, the old songs that still echo in the quiet night. There's a kind of comfort in knowing that you're part of a story that stretches far beyond your own small life. You open your eyes again and let them wander across the room. The lamp flickers, and in its glow you see the faint outlines of woven baskets and clay pots, each one a quiet testament to the work of your hands. You run your fingers over the rim of a pot, feeling the faint grooves left by the potter's careful touch. You smile, thinking of the countless meals it has held, the quiet laughter shared over simple stews and fresh tortillas. A faint creak draws your attention, and you glance at the doorway, half expecting to see a neighbor come calling with a last bit of gossip or a small offering of fresh herbs. But the doorway remains empty, the night beyond it deep and soft. You chuckle at yourself. Perhaps you're letting the lake's old stories slip into your mind a little too easily tonight. You shift your weight and stand, moving to the small window that looks out over the water. The lake glimmers in the faint starlight, a silver mirror that seems to stretch on forever. You rest your elbows on the windowsill, feeling the cool breeze against your skin, and watch the gentle ripples that slide across the surface. A small movement catches your eye, a fish jumping, or perhaps a water spirit testing the boundaries of its quiet world. You watch for a moment, the soft splash echoing in the hush, and then you turn away, content to leave the mysteries of the night to themselves. You move back to your mat and settle down, pulling the blanket tight around your shoulders. You close your eyes and let your breath slow, the soft rhythm of the water outside lulling you into a gentle haze. You think of tomorrow, of the planting and weeding, of the trade and the quiet laughter shared with neighbors, and you smile. There's comfort in the small rituals, in the patient work that shapes each day. A light joke drifts through your mind, how the lake must roll its eyes at all your worries and plans, knowing that it has seen so many come and go. You chuckle softly, the sound barely more than a breath, and let the lake's quiet humor soothe you. The night deepens, the darkness soft and patient around you. You let your thoughts drift like the canoes that glide across the water, each one carrying a small light of hope and promise. The Chinampas are silent now, but you can still feel their quiet strength in the earth beneath you, in the gentle sigh of the lake against the planks. You shift once more, finding a comfortable spot, and you let your eyes close. Outside, the lake hums its soft song, and you let it carry you, each ripple a gentle breath that eases you into the night's quiet embrace. The night deepens, and with it comes the gentle promise of rest. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the quiet hum of the lake soothe your thoughts. But soon, the distant sound of water lapping against the Chinampa stirs you, and you know it's time to check the edges of your floating garden once more. The lake has its own moods, and tonight it seems restless. You rise from your mat, the reed floor cool beneath your bare feet. Outside, the moon glows silver and low, casting a soft light that shimmers on the rippling water. You step onto the wooden planks, the night air crisp against your skin, and you breathe deep, tasting the faint tang of damp earth and sweet, growing things. The planks creak softly under your weight, each step a careful balance on the narrow path. You glance back once at the soft glow of your lamp, its faint flicker a comforting beacon against the dark. Then you move forward, your steps sure and quiet, the gentle hush of the lake a lullaby around you. You reach the edge of your Chinampa and crouch low, running your fingers along the wooden stakes that hold the earth in place. They're firm and patient, sunk deep into the lake bed, but you know the water's gentle strength can wear down even the oldest wood. Historians still argue whether the annual floods that sweep through these waterways were seen as a blessing or a quiet threat, a soft rebellion of the lake itself. You feel the truth in the damp wood under your fingertips, the quiet power of water and time. You dip your hand into the lake, feeling the cool slip of water swirl around your wrist. The lake breathes softly, its surface alive with faint ripples that catch the moonlight like a scatter of stars. You smile at the thought, each wave a small secret, each ripple a quiet promise that the lake will always be here, waiting. You stand and glance across the water to where a neighbor's fire flickers low, a tiny glow in the vast darkness. You think of the quiet conversations shared over that fire, the slow laughter and soft sighs. You wonder if he's telling stories tonight, tales of spirits who walk the lake at night, or of fish so big they swallow canoes whole. You chuckle at the thought, the gentle absurdity of it warming you even in the cool night air. You turn back to your work, checking the edges of the Chinampa for any signs of the lake's quiet mischief. The mud is soft and pliant under your hands, the smell of it rich and dark. You find a place where the water has crept in a little too far, and you set to work, pressing down the earth and smoothing the reeds that line the edges. It's slow work, but it's also a kind of meditation, each careful motion a promise to the lake that you will tend this garden with patience and care. A frog croaks nearby, its low song blending with the gentle sigh of the water. You pause to watch it, its dark eyes glinting in the moonlight. You wonder if the frog knows something you don't, some secret of the lake, some small joke whispered among the reeds. You offer it a quiet greeting, your voice no louder than a breath, and the frog blinks slowly, as if in solemn agreement. You think of the city of Tenochtitlan, sleeping now under the moon's watchful gaze. You imagine the quiet streets, the silent temples, the slow breathing of 1,000 souls wrapped in dreams. You know the city will wake with the sun, hungry for the fruits of your labor, but tonight it seems far away, a gentle echo beyond the dark water. A light joke flickers through your mind, how the city's warriors, so fierce and proud, would be hopelessly lost here in the soft dark of the Chinampas, their sharp blades no match for the quiet patience of mud and water. You grin at the thought, the image of a warrior tripping over a tangle of squash vines enough to ease any lingering worries. You finish your work at the edge of the Chinampa, your hands dark with rich, silky mud. You stand and wipe them on your tunic, feeling the weight of the night settle around your shoulders. The lake is quiet now, the water's gentle breath a constant, soothing presence. You close your eyes and let that hush fill you, each breath slow and easy, each heartbeat a soft echo of the water's endless song. You turn back toward your home, your steps measured and calm. The wooden planks creak underfoot, but you trust them, just as you trust the lake and the quiet strength of the earth beneath you. The night air wraps around you like a soft blanket, and you let it lull you, each step a gentle promise that the world is safe and still. As you reach your home, you pause for a moment to look out across the water. The moon hangs low and heavy, its light a quiet silver glow that seems to dance on the ripples. You watch it for a long breath, feeling the slow, patient heartbeat of the lake beneath your feet. Then you step inside, closing the door behind you and letting the darkness of the room wrap around you once more. The hush of the lake follows you in, a soft whisper that promises rest and gentle dreams. You smile to yourself, your hands still smelling faintly of earth and water, and you let out a sigh that carries with it all the quiet strength of the Chinampas. You stretch your arms high above your head, feeling the gentle pull of muscles long worked but never truly tired of the lake's rhythm. The soft glow of the lamp inside your hut flickers low, and you move to bank it, the clay bowl warm under your fingers. Outside, the lake's whispers have softened into the night's gentle hum, each breath of air carrying with it the scent of water and earth. You slip outside once more, the night wrapping around you like a favorite cloak. The air is cool on your skin, the moon's silver light painting the Chinampas in soft, dreamlike tones. You pause at the edge of your garden, your eyes tracing the quiet geometry of the rows, the delicate dance of shadows among the maize and squash vines. In the distance, you can just make out the white gleam of Tenochtitlan's temples, ghostly and grand against the night sky. They seem to hover above the water, impossibly far and yet close enough that you can almost feel the city's endless hunger. Historians still argue whether the tribute system that fed that hunger was fair or a quiet cruelty, whether the empire's grandeur was built on the soft backs of farmers like you. You shrug softly at the thought, the answer lost in the hush of the lake. You lean on your paddle, the worn wood smooth against your palms, and you watch the soft glow of your neighbors' fires, the darkness like small constellations, each flickering light a promise that you're not alone, even in the vast, gentle quiet of the night. You slip into your canoe, the small craft swaying slightly under your weight. The paddle dips into the water, the motion as easy and sure as breathing. The lake opens before you, a smooth, dark mirror that shivers at each stroke. You row slowly, the gentle splash of the paddle a counterpoint to the sighing night. As you drift along, you catch snatches of quiet conversation drifting from the nearest fires, soft laughter, the rustle of baskets, the slow music of an old song hummed in a low voice. You smile at the sound, the gentle pulse of life that binds you to this floating world. You pull closer to a friend's Chinampa, calling out a low greeting. He grins, his face half shadowed by the firelight, and beckons you over. You tie your canoe to the edge of his garden, stepping carefully onto the damp earth. He offers you a small clay cup, the liquid inside steaming and fragrant. It's a simple drink, cacao mixed with a touch of chili, the bitterness softened by the faintest hint of honey. You take a sip, the warmth blooming in your chest like a quiet sunrise. You close your eyes and let out a soft breath, the taste of the lake and the earth dancing on your tongue. You thank him with a gentle joke, how this cup is better than any fancy banquet in the city, and he laughs, nodding in agreement. You sit together in the soft glow of the fire, the conversation flowing as easily as the water around you. You talk of the day's work, of the fish that jumped into your canoe as if to offer themselves up for dinner, of the quiet mischief of the water spirits who seem to tug at your feet when you're least expecting it. Your friend tells you of a new plant he's trying, a strange, pale tuber traded from the southern valleys, its taste a mystery waiting to be unwrapped. You promise to trade seeds, to see if the Chinampa's patient earth will welcome this newcomer. You both know that the lake is generous if you treat it well. Historians still debate whether these trading relationships were formal or just quiet understandings shared by neighbors. But you see the truth in the way your friend passes you another cup of warm drink, in the easy laughter that flows between you both. It's a trust that's older than any empire, a simple faith that those who share the lake's gifts will find a way to thrive together. The night deepens, the fire burning low and soft. You rise with a sigh, stretching your arms to the sky, and you thank your friend for the warmth of the drink and the company of the fire. You slip back into your canoe, the lake welcoming you with a gentle sigh of ripples. You row slowly, the paddle's rhythm a quiet song that matches the hush of the night. The air is cool and sweet, the moonlight bright enough to see the faint outlines of the Chinampas stretching into the distance. You pause for a moment, letting the canoe drift, your breath slow and even, your heart steady and calm. You remember another light joke. A neighbor's claim that if the lake ever dried up, the farmers would just keep paddling in circles, too stubborn to admit the water was gone. You chuckle softly at the thought, the gentle humor as much a part of these nights as the sigh of the reeds. You reach your own Chinampa again, tying off the canoe and stepping onto the soft earth with a quiet sigh. The night's hush settles around you like a blessing, and you pause for a moment to look up at the sky. The stars are bright and patient, each one a tiny promise of tomorrow. You turn back to your hut, the quiet promise of rest calling you home. Each step is slow and gentle, the world soft and forgiving in the lake's gentle embrace. You breathe deep, the scent of earth and water a constant comfort, and you smile as you slip inside, the hush of the night following you like a soft whisper. The door closes softly behind you, and you stand for a moment in the hush of your hut, the faint glow of the lamp warming the reed walls. The quiet settles around you like a familiar friend, and you let out a long breath that seems to carry away the last traces of the day's labor. You sink down onto your mat, the earth's gentle scent rising to greet you, and you smile at the thought of the lake's patient embrace beyond these thin walls. Your fingers trace the worn edges of a small clay pot at your side, its surface cool and smooth under your touch. It's a humble tool, but it holds the quiet knowledge of generations. Just like the digging stick leaning in the corner, just like the patient rhythm of your breath in the night's soft hush. Historians still argue whether the farming tools of the Chinampas were passed down through families or shared freely among neighbors. But you know that each tool, each mark in the earth, carries its own quiet story. You rise and cross to a small basket in the corner, lifting the woven lid and pulling out a handful of maize kernels. They're warm from your touch, each one a tiny promise of life and the quiet miracle of growth. You let them spill through your fingers, the soft rattle like a song only you can hear. You remember a neighbor's joke, how even the smallest kernel holds the power to outlive kings and empires. You grin at the thought, the gentle humor a balm against the weight of history. You scoop the kernels back into the basket, each one a small treasure waiting for the patient hand of the earth. You pause to light a small bundle of dried herbs, epazote and a sprig of wild mint. The smoke curls up in thin, blue tendrils, carrying a soft, green scent that fills the small space. You let it drift around you, the gentle fragrance soothing your tired mind and easing the quiet ache in your shoulders. You remember another curious tidbit. Some believed the smoke of these herbs could ward off bad dreams, weaving a net of calm around the sleeper's heart. You let that thought settle in your mind like a gentle joke, a smile playing at your lips as you watch the faint glow of the embers. You move to the small window and push it open, letting the cool night air wash over your face. The lake glimmers in the moonlight, a silver mirror that ripples with every breath of wind. You watch it for a long moment, feeling the slow rhythm of the water echo in your own quiet heart. You think of the tools you've used today, the digging stick that fits so easily in your hand, the paddle worn smooth by the patient push of water. Historians still puzzle over whether the ingenious techniques of the Chinampas were truly lost to time or simply waiting. You like to think they're still here, hidden in the quiet dance of your hands, the patient pull of the earth and water. You close the window and move back to your mat, the hush of the night a gentle comfort. You settle down, pulling your blanket around your shoulders, the woven fibers soft against your skin. You close your eyes and let your breath slow, each inhale rich with the sense of earth and lake and wood smoke. Outside, the water sighs softly against the Chinampa's edges, a slow, patient song that has echoed for centuries. You let it fill your mind, each ripple a small memory of those who came before you, of the quiet laughter of farmers trading seeds, of the soft songs sung to the growing maize, of the gentle sighs of a lake that has always given more than it takes. You remember a friend's quiet tale of a clay figurine found buried in the mud, its face worn smooth by time, its tiny hands folded in patient prayer. You wonder if it was once an offering, a small hope left in the soft earth to ask for the lake's blessing. You smile at the thought, feeling the weight of the small figure in your mind even though your hands are empty. You drift on the edge of sleep, your thoughts soft and slow. The world beyond your hut nothing but gentle shadows and the faint glow of starlight on water. You let your breath match the slow rhythm of the lake, each inhale and exhale a quiet promise that tomorrow will come, and the earth will welcome you again. You shift once more, pulling the blanket tighter around your shoulders, and you let out a soft sigh that carries away the last of the day's worries. The night is patient, the lake's hush a constant companion, and you let yourself slip into its gentle embrace. One breath, one heartbeat, one soft dream at a time. You wake slowly to the faint glow of dawn, the pale light seeping into your hut and painting the reed walls in soft, golden hues. You stretch, feeling the gentle stiffness in your shoulders and back, a quiet reminder of yesterday's patient labor. Outside, the lake murmurs softly. The gentle ripple of water against the Chinampas edges a lullaby that never truly ends. You rise and move to the window, the early light catching in your hair as you lean out to breathe in the sweet scent of earth and water. The lake is calm, its surface smooth as polished stone, and you watch as a heron steps carefully along the shallows, its long legs slicing the water like a quiet promise. You smile at the sight, the simple elegance of the bird a gentle start to the new day. You slip into your canoe, the paddle dipping silently into the silver water. You steer carefully between the Chinampas, the narrow channels already alive with soft voices and quiet laughter. Today is market day, and the floating world is awake and humming. You join the slow parade of canoes, each one piled high with baskets of bright chilies, leafy greens, and fragrant herbs. You catch a neighbor's eye and share a light joke. How the lake must be amused at all your fuss and trade. She laughs and offers you a small handful of fresh episode, the scent sharp and green in the morning air. You thank her with a quiet promise to trade something sweet in return. The sun lifts slowly, turning the water to liquid gold as you reach the edge of the market. The Tianguis is already busy, a quiet festival of color and sound. Historians still debate whether these floating markets were more than just a place to buy and sell, whether they were also the heart of gossip and news, a soft pulse of laughter and quiet secrets shared in the shadows of the willows. You think they must be right. As you drift between the market stalls, you catch snatches of conversation. A whispered debate over the best way to roast squash blossoms, a story of a fisherman who swears he saw the lake spirits dancing on the water last night. You smile, the gentle gossip as much a part of these markets as the baskets of maize and the soft jingle of clay pots. You pause to trade your amaranth greens for a small bundle of sweet, dried fruit, the bartering easy and unhurried. You share another light joke with the merchant, how the chilies always seem to jump from his basket to yours, whether you want them or not. He laughs, the sound a warm echo in the early morning air. You move slowly along the water's edge, the gentle sway of the canoe matching the soft rhythm of your breath. The air smells of roasted maize and sweet herbs, the faint smoke of cooking fires curling up into the pale sky. You let it fill your lungs, each breath a quiet promise of the lake's gifts. You pause at a small stall where a young girl offers you a bundle of clay figurines, tiny animals and people, each one shaped with careful, patient hands. You take one, a small frog with a crooked grin, and you smile at the thought of it watching over your garden, a quiet guardian in the soft earth. Historians still puzzle over whether these small offerings were charms or toys, prayers or simple playthings. You think it doesn't matter. Each one is a piece of the lake's quiet story, shaped from the soft mud and fired in the gentle breath of the fire. You tuck the small frog into your pouch and move on, your canoe gliding through the gentle chaos of the market. You pause here and there, trading quiet greetings and small goods, each exchange a gentle thread in the tapestry of the Chinampas' life. You remember a friend's quiet laughter, a story of how his grandmother claimed the lake itself would grow tired of all your chatter and steal your voice if you didn't learn to listen. You chuckle at the thought, your voice soft as you murmur thanks to the lake for its patient listening. As the sun climbs higher, you drift away from the busiest stalls, finding a quiet place where the water is still and the air tastes of damp earth and green things. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the hush of the lake wrap around you like a soft blanket. You think of the quiet magic of these markets, how they bind you to your neighbors and the earth in ways no empire's law can touch. You breathe deep and let that thought settle in your bones. The gentle certainty that you are part of something older and kinder than any grand city beyond the lake's edge. You turn your canoe back toward your garden, the soft weight of your trades nestled in the bottom like small, patient promises. The paddle dips into the water with each easy stroke, and you smile at the faint echo of laughter that seems to ripple across the lake, the soft chorus of voices that has always been part of this floating world. You glide home along the familiar paths, the slow ripples of your paddle tracing quiet arcs on the water's silver skin. The lake seems deeper today, the soft green of the Chinampas bright against its calm face. You pause to watch the way the reeds sway in the breeze, their soft rustle blending with the distant murmur of voices drifting from the market behind you. You let your mind wander, the quiet lap of water at the canoe's sides like the gentle tick of time. You think of the stories buried in the mud beneath you, small relics of the past waiting for curious hands. Historians still debate what these fragments meant. The clay figurines of gods and creatures, the bits of jewelry and tools that slip from the lake's fingers like dreams half-remembered. You wonder at them too. Each small find a reminder that even the quietest places hold mysteries waiting to be uncovered. You reach your Chinampa and step carefully onto the damp earth, the soft give of the ground a familiar greeting. You leave your canoe tied at the edge and wander among the rows, your fingers trailing lightly over the leaves and blossoms. The world is quiet here, the air rich with the scent of green things and the faint, sweet tang of the lake's breath. You kneel by a small patch of amaranth, the bright leaves a riot of color in the afternoon light. You press your fingers into the soil, feeling the damp, cool life of it seep into your skin. It's an odd comfort, this touch of earth, like the lake itself pressing back against your hand, a quiet reminder that you're part of this soft, breathing world. As you work, you catch a glimmer in the mud at the water's edge. You lean closer, curious, and find a small clay figure half buried, its worn face turned to the sky. You lift it gently, feeling the faint roughness of its ancient surface under your fingers. It's a simple thing, a frog, maybe, or a spirit of the water, but it feels heavy with quiet stories. You turn it over in your hands, your breath slow and easy. You wonder who made it, whose fingers shaped the clay and smoothed the edges. You smile at the thought of some distant farmer, the same quiet humor in his heart as he shaped this small friend to watch over his garden. You rinse the little figure in the clear water, watching the silt swirl away in soft, lazy clouds. It emerges clean and bright, a small echo of the past returned to the present. You set it on a flat stone by the water, a small guardian to keep watch over your work. You pause to rest for a moment, sitting back on your heels and watching the quiet dance of the dragonflies above the water. They hover and dart, their wings catching the light like tiny stained glass windows. You let your mind drift with them, the gentle motion of their flight a lullaby that hums in your bones. You remember a neighbor's story, how he once found a clay whistle shaped like a bird. Its song lost to time, but its shape still whispering of laughter and quiet evenings by the fire. You wonder how many small treasures the lake still holds, waiting to be found by patient hands and quiet hearts. You stand and stretch, feeling the slow pull of your muscles as you reach for the sky. The sun is warm on your skin, the air sweet with the scent of the lake's breath. You move on to the next row of maize, your hands sure and steady, each small motion a promise to the earth that you will tend it well. Historians still puzzle over how these Chinampas were built, whether they rose all at once or grew slowly, one careful layer at a time. You think it doesn't matter. The truth is in the quiet strength of the earth under your feet, in the soft pulse of life that hums through every inch of soil and water. You work slowly, the gentle rhythm of your breath matching the soft pull of the weeds, the quiet turn of the soil. The world feels smaller here, closer and kinder, and you let that thought settle in your heart like a quiet prayer. A light joke drifts through your mind, how the Chinampas' oldest stories must be tired of your questions, how they'd rather stay hidden in the mud than be prodded by your curious hands. You chuckle softly, your voice a gentle thread of sound in the hush of the garden. You pause once more at the water's edge, your fingers brushing the soft ripples that lap against the reeds. You breathe deep, the scent of earth and green things filling your lungs, and you close your eyes for a moment, letting the hush of the lake settle into your bones. When you open them again, you're ready. Ready to keep planting, to keep tending, to keep listening to the gentle stories the lake shares in soft ripples and patient silences. One breath at a time, one quiet promise after another. The sun is low in the sky now, the soft light of late afternoon painting the water in gentle golds and dusky pinks. You pause at the edge of your Chinampa, your breath slow and easy, and you watch the quiet ripple of the lake as it slides past your toes. The world feels hushed in this hour between light and dark, the hush of twilight a soft blanket that wraps around you. You move along the narrow planks that bind the Chinampa together, each footstep careful, deliberate. The wood creaks softly under your weight, the lake's calm breath steady and patient beneath you. You pause to look back at your garden, at the rows of bright green maize, the gentle sprawl of squash vines, the small clay guardian you found earlier now resting at the water's edge. It's a quiet kingdom, and you smile at the thought. You slip into your canoe one last time, the paddle dipping into the water with a soft, rhythmic hush. The lake carries you gently, the water's cool kiss against the canoe's sides a quiet echo of the patient earth. You drift slowly, each stroke a lullaby, each breath a promise that the day's work is done. As you move through the fading light, you see the small fires flicker to life on your neighbor's Chinampas, the smoke rising in thin, blue spirals that drift into the pale sky. You can almost hear the quiet laughter, the gentle murmur of voices sharing stories and small jokes. Historians still argue whether these evenings were times of rest or moments of quiet planning. But you know they are both, soft spaces of gentle humor and patient dreams. You pause your paddling and let the canoe drift, the slow motion of the water rocking you like a cradle. You watch the first stars bloom in the darkening sky, each one a tiny promise that the world will keep turning, that the lake will always be here, patient and kind. You think of your friends, of the quiet gossip of the market, of the gentle teasing traded over shared meals, of the slow laughter that slips like ripples across the water. You smile at the thought, your breath soft and warm in the cool evening air. You remember another light joke, a neighbor's claim that the lake itself tells stories in the soft slap of water against the canoe's sides. You chuckle, letting the sound slip out into the hush, and you wonder what tales the lake would share if it could speak in words instead of water. You guide your canoe back to the edge of your Chinampa, the quiet weight of the water steady beneath you. You tie off the boat and step onto the soft earth, the gentle give of the soil a final comfort for the day. You walk slowly, letting your hands brush the tops of the maize, feeling the last warmth of the sun lingering in the green. You stand at the water's edge, your breath slow and deep, and you watch as the last light of the sun slips behind the hills. The lake holds that light for a moment, a shimmering memory, and then the darkness softens everything, the world hushed and waiting. You turn and walk back to your hut, each step slow and sure, the path worn smooth by countless feet. You pause at the doorway, glancing once more at the water, the hush of the lake a soft whisper against your skin. You step inside and let the door close behind you, the quiet of the night settling around you like a lullaby. You breathe deep, the air rich with the scent of earth and water, and you smile in the soft dark. You sit by the low glow of your lamp, the shadows gentle on the walls, and you let your mind drift. You think of the soft laughter of your friends, of the quiet strength of the earth beneath your feet, of the patient hush of the lake that cradles this floating world. You close your eyes and let out a long breath, each inhale and exhale a promise to the earth, to the lake, to the small, quiet miracles of every day. You whisper a soft goodnight to the lake, to the quiet gardens and the patient water. You smile in the hush, your breath slow and sure, and you let the gentle rhythm of the night carry you into dreams. Word count, 1,104, 300-word wind down. As the final light of dusk settles over the quiet Chinampas, you feel your breath slow even more, each inhale a soft promise, each exhale a gentle release. The lake is a dark mirror now, holding the faint glimmer of starlight in its patient embrace. You close your eyes and let that hush cradle you, each gentle wave a soft sigh that eases the last weight from your shoulders. The air is cool and sweet, rich with the scent of wet earth and green things growing. You let that scent fill you, each breath a quiet tether to the patient world that waits just beyond the hush of sleep. You think of the slow dance of dragonflies, the soft flicker of firelight across still water, the gentle rustle of maize in the night breeze. Each memory a lullaby, each thought a slow drift deeper into rest. Your body feels heavy now, warm and safe, the last echoes of the day fading into the soft night. You let yourself sink into that weight, each muscle softening, each worry slipping away like ripples on the water. The lake holds your breath, your dreams, your quiet hopes, and you know that tomorrow it will still be there, steady and patient and kind. You murmur a final goodnight to the stars, to the earth beneath you, to the soft lull of the lake. And as you drift into sleep, you carry with you the gentle strength of the Chinampas, the soft humor of the night's quiet jokes, and the endless, tender hush of water and earth, cradling you until dawn.